Chairman, Priors, guests, good evening. The inaugural dinner of the Whitefriars Club, whose anniversary we are celebrating today, took place on the 21st of February 1868 at Radley's Hotel, Newbridge Street, Blackfriars. Henry Barnett, then editor of the Sunday Times, was in the chair. The founder members of the Whitefriars Club were mostly journalists, authors and men of letters. Over the years, the club counted among its numbers some of the most famous writers of the day, including Mark Twain, Bram Stoker, Arthur Conan Doyle, H.G. Wells, Thomas Hardy and George Meredith, to name only a few. Alongside journalists and writers, the Whitefriars Club boasted many representatives from the publishing industry. If we look at the membership list from the early 1950s, we'll find in them top executives from William Collins, Edward Arnott, Matthew & Co., William Heinemann, George G. Harrop, Simkin Marshall, Chapman and so on, as well as eminent publishers such as Jonathan Cape, Michael Joseph, Alan Lay, the founder of Penguin Books, Victor Gollancz, James Pittman and Rupert Hart Davis. Today, we welcome members from every professional background, and among them, we are delighted to have also a number of translators. Three of them are with us tonight. Roger Cockrell, who has translated several masterpieces from Russian literature, is currently working on a new translation of the Karamazov Brothers. Dr. Sanderberg, who translates mainly from French, although he commands with equal mastery at least half a dozen more languages, and Timothy Addis, one of the most accomplished, versatile and inventive translators of poetry in this country. Therefore, it is only fit and proper, and in line with our illustrious literary tradition, that the Whitefriars Club should celebrate today, on its 158th anniversary, the winner and runner-up of the inaugural John Calder Translation Prize, organized under the auspices of the club and managed by the Society of Authors. John Calder was a towering figure of 20th century British publishing. His widow, Sheila Colvin, was supposed to be here tonight. Unfortunately, she couldn't travel from Edinburgh. But she sent the following message. Dear Judy and the committee of the Whitefriars Club, I'm sending my very warm greetings to you all. My thanks for your sponsorship of John Calder Prize for Translation. Without your initial enthusiasm and support for the project, it just would not have happened, and I'm very grateful. I extend my warmest congratulations to the winner of the John Calder Translation Prize. I'm in Edinburgh, a great literary city, and very sorry not to be with you today. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I send you my very best wishes and thanks. Sheila Colvin Calder. So, John, as I called him, John Calder, was known as the foremost English language publisher of exciting avant-garde literature, and was a trailblazing proponent of fiction in translation, as well as a champion of the free word and a staunch promoter of authors who were suppressed or discriminated for political or other reasons. Under his stewardship, his publishing house brought out novels, plays and poetry by such literary luminaries as Samuel Beckett, Henry Miller, William Burroughs, Louis-Ferdinand Céline, Raymond Queneau, Alain Robbe-Grillet, Marguerite Duras, Nathalie Sarraute, Claude Simon, Robert Panger and many others. The John Calder Translation Prize is an annual award for translations into English from any language of full-length, ambitious, groundbreaking works in any genre, fiction, non-fiction and poetry, which are distinguished by the highly personal and imaginative approach of the authors to their subject. The winner is awarded £3,000 and the runner-up is awarded £1,000. The inaugural John Calder Translation Prize has attracted an incredible 76 submissions from 25 different languages, ranging from Afrikaans, Arabic, Bengali, Chinese and Vietnamese to all the major and some of the minority languages in Europe. We were all pleasantly taken by surprise by the excitement and interest this new award has created in the literary community, and we hope we can carry the momentum forward to next year's edition. The winner and runner-up of the inaugural John Calder Translation Prize were announced 2 weeks ago at the Society of Authors Translation Prize ceremony at the British Library. We would like to thank Robin Lowe, Natalie Thorpe, Rose Henscher, and the whole team at the Society of Authors for their help in selecting the judges and for running the award in such a smooth and professional way. A great thank you also goes to the judges, Fiona C. Lorraine, Helen Oyeyemi, and John McGregor, who had the mammoth task of going through all the submissions, making a shortlist and selecting a runner-up and a winner. Finally, a thank you to the committee and the translation subcommittee of the Whitefriars Club, and particularly to our chairman, Judy Douglas-Boyd, for agreeing enthusiastically to espouse the cause of translation. Fiona C. Lorraine, one of the judges for the award, said, "Translation creates a new republic of books that transcends boundaries, and translators are often the unsung heroes. Our inaugural John Calder Prize shortlist honors the art of translation and world literature." The runner-up of the 2025 John Calder Translation Prize is Tess Lewis for a translation from French of Nevermore by Cécile Wisbro, published by Seagull Books. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Tess Lewis. Tess is unable to be here tonight since she lives in New York, but she sent the following message. The John Calder Translation Prize is a fitting tribute to a man who had an eye and stomach for challenging and provocative literature, and it is balm for the sorely tried translator's soul. Far too often, translators are expected to fade into the background, to leave no trace, and reviewers and readers pretend, and maybe even believe, that they don't exist. But just as the voice and style of a truly inventive writer is as distinctive as a fingerprint, so too is the most sensitive and astute translation. And the more unusual and groundbreaking a writer's work, the more risks a translator must take to recreate and recontextualize that novel's novelty or genre-bending work's ingenuity. It is an act of generosity to recognize such risk-taking writers and translators in John Calder's name. I send my heartfelt thanks to the founders and jury of this prize, and my congratulations to my impressive co-nominees. And now we come to the winner of the inaugural John Calder Translation Prize, Alexandra Roche, for a translation from German of Boy with a Black Rooster by Stephanie von Schulte, published by the Indigo Press, described by the judges as elegantly rendered into English with crystalline prose. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexandra Roche.
John Calder's name stands for a particular kind of courage, the quiet, stubborn kind that backs work because it matters, not because it's easy. He understood literature as a public act, something that tests the culture's nerve and widens what can be said without apology. It's fitting that this prize looks for ambitious, groundbreaking work shaped by a highly personal, imaginative intelligence. Translation belongs in that same territory, an act of hospitality, but also of precision and risk, carrying a voice across a border without sanding down what makes it singular. To be the inaugural recipient of a prize that carries his name is an honour and a reminder of the standard he set. I am profoundly grateful. John Calder's publishing life was in many ways an argument for openness, for curiosity about European writing, for literary ambition, and for the principle that challenging books deserve a public life. He backed voices that did not arrive pre-approved, and he did so with a mixture of taste and nerve that still commands respect. His legacy reminds us that literature has always travelled, and that English is at its richest when it remains open to voices from elsewhere. For me, that is where literary translation comes in. At its best, it's a form of listening, an attempt to stay close to another mind's cadence and another culture's assumptions, while still writing English that lives and breathes on its own terms. It's also a way of reading life outward-facing, of keeping our reading life outward-facing. A translated book reminds us that our language is not the whole world, and that other histories, humours, and moral imaginations are there, waiting if we are willing to attend to them. A brief word about the book itself. It's the kind of work this prize exists to champion. Stephanie Vorschulte's book, Boy with a Black Rooster, is written with the stripped-back clarity of a fable, but it doesn't behave like one. It's dark, uncompromising, and yet it's never merely bleak. What stays with you is its hard-won tenderness, its insistence that even in a landscape of fear and cruelty, decency can be chosen and chosen again. This mixture of starkness and humane lift is exactly what I wanted the English to carry. I won't say much more about it, I'd rather let the language speak for itself. I'll read a short moment first in German, just to give a sense of the original voice and rhythm, and then an extended section in English so you can follow the scene more closely. Martin folgt der Stimme des Hahns, die sanft und wohltönt, zugleich eindringlich und unausweichlich ist, als würde ein Gott ihm die Stimme geben. Die Stimme erfüllt Martin derart, als habe er all die Jahre nur auf den Klang gewartet. Es tut gut, einmal nur ein Junge zu sein, der den Worten eines anderen Wesens folgt. Und so lenkt der Hahn ihn aus dem Knochenmeer heraus, weist ihm den Weg zum Hang, nennt ihn Wurzel und Stein für jeden Halt und jeden Tritt, bis das Kind wieder herausgeklettert kommt aus der traurigen Schlucht und erschöpft vor dem Hahn kniet. Und es ist sicher, dass es niemandem davon berichten darf, wie der Hahn zu ihm spricht, denn alle würden meinen, mit der Stimme des Teufels, aber Martin weiß, mit dem Teufel hat der Hahn so wenig zu tun wie er selbst. Martin follows the rooster's voice, which is gentle and melodious, but insistent and inescapable at the same time, as if a god were lending it a voice. The voice fills every part of Martin's being, as if he has been waiting for its sound all these years. It feels good to just be a boy for once, simply following the words of another being. And so the rooster guides him out of the sea of bones, shows him the way to the upward slope, points out the roots and stone for each foothold, and step until the child climbs out of the sad ravine and falls to his knees in front of the rooster, exhausted. He knows that he cannot tell anyone about how the rooster spoke to him, for they would all think it was the voice of the devil. But Martin knows that the rooster has as little to do with the devil as he himself does. Martin is utterly exhausted. On the way home he vomits several times. He is hot and shivery, but he does not drop the skulls or the rooster. His progress is slow, and so darkness catches up with him. Things are grey in the transition to blackness. The skulls catch the remaining light and appear to glow. The rooster's low, mumbling voice tells him the way and drives him homewards. Tears stream down Martin's face. He wishes there was someone standing at the end of the path through the forest with a lamp, waiting for him and lighting the way. I am your light, the rooster says. Then Martin closes his eyes and blindly places one foot in front of the other. He steps over clay, stones, leaves. He hears the cracking of snail shells as he crushes them. He hears the call of an owl, the grunt of a wild boar. He does not hear the witches, nor the undead. The rooster leads him through all the horrors and superstition, but Martin does not notice and does not falter, and holds the skulls left and right, and reaches the village, where everything is already as dark as death. And finally, thank you to the Whitefriars Club, to the committee, and in particular to Madam Chairman Judy Douglas-Boyd, for the generosity of this evening and for welcoming this prize into the life of the club. And thank you to Alma Books for sponsoring the Translation Prize, and for helping to keep John Calder's values, literary ambitions and courage active in the present. I'm very glad to be here to celebrate with all of you tonight. Thank you.
Before we start dinner, I'd like to present you with a copy of this book, which is a history of our club, and together with it a honorary membership, and we hope to see you again sometime soon. I know that you are in Frankfurt, but who knows, maybe. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Thanks again.
Would you all please stand now for the grace? For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.